FY '21 now.
Okay. No, we're in we're coming into
FY
FY
20.
'20. But that's in FY
19 was
'19.
last.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that was 19.
So you
right,
need to
20.
take that out of FY '19 funds.
But we can pay it with our revolving fund.
Sure.
No, what he's questioning is why are we paying for all
I'm
the
just wondering why
flags
we're
around
paying
here?
for all
I
the
don't
flags
know
in
who
town.
normally pays for flags? I have my flag
That's why
here.
I'm directing it to you.
In the past, have you paid for them?
I don't think we did last year.
Now,
They
Tommy
don't
Walsh
replace them every
is
year.
the guy that takes care of them. And I went up, we needed a flag on the football field, because we always take that one down in the fall, we don't run it through the winter, because there's no lights on it. And they took it down, and then we wanted to get one put up for the spring sports season. And I went to the fire department and asked them to order one, and they said they were gonna take care of it. And evidently, this is the bill for it, along with another flag for the common, which is a big one.
I've told, fire chief that I will pay for any flags at my town building. I think if you're the property, fire department pays for the fire department, the park should pay for the flags at the
These were
parks.
approved by me.
How about the
Um,
common?
The police
Okay.
chief pays for his.
About the
If I can
common?
get 'em back,
I mean,
I
we're
just wanted
responsible
to
for it,
make
so
copies.
we should.
Okay.
You can do it
Or-
after when I get the rest of them, I just wanted to separate.
When I had the parks, I always paid for the flags. And those big
We're paying
ones,
for it.
Can you,
Well, besides the fact it's the 8th and there's not enough time to track down someone to pay for it anyway,
And
so
we
we'll
might as
just
well
pay
pay
for
this
it.
one too.
So here, take this one then. It's on that one.
you're gonna, email these things out?
Yeah, so everyone,
Okay.
no, we lost electricity at work.
Oh, well, that'll take the server down.
That wasn't the issue. Wednesday, our,
When you gotta
internet
click.
went down.
so,
I thought I had one on there. Oh, no.
was it
it's
just the
here.
two?
Can you
Huh?
give that to
Just those
to
two
Steve?
bills?
Yeah, we're not paying it, I guess.
Is Jeff coming?
I don't know. I didn't hear from him, but
Okay, well, I'll just leave this as
That's
Jeff.
fine.
That's okay, just wondered.
That's right. Oh, perfect. I never even thought of it.
You said there was no vendor number for,
No, I'll have to get, what was it, Sterling Greenery?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what, I'll just write that on the note to Carrie and have her drive it down.
We start?
yes. Before we get started, did anybody reach out to you about the vacant position?
I spoke with DPW director this morning, and I have the, and posting back in 1998, when it was originally created.
What's this?
That
I'm-
was a superintendent's job.
I'm
right?
talking about the Parks Commissioner,
Oh.
I'm sorry,
the vacant Parks Commissioner spot.
no one's,
Okay, alright. We can address it after.
okay.
Somebody was interested, I told them to contact you.
Oh, good.
Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the July 8th Parks Commission meeting. First order of business is to approve the June meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Want me to sign these?
Please.
Bills here.
Hmm?
These are the
Oh,
bills.
okay. Yeah, we can do that. You wanna do the treasurer report after you sign that?
Sign that there, that's the meeting minutes. All right, haven't been any checks deposited since our last meeting, so this balance that we have, this is,
Yeah, there was $3,000.
didn't we include it in the minutes of the last meeting?
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah,
it
we
was
talked about-
deposited
yeah,
afterwards,
right, yeah,
okay.
yeah. So we had field account, we have $16,984.25. Recreation account, we have $50.45. Pride Park, we've got $536.37. And there should be another $2,000 in your budget, Gary, for Pride Park. Storage units, we're still holding $900 on that. We need to decide whether we're gonna continue to hold that or turn it back to the, I believe that came from the CPC committee.
They're still in the same exact spot, the units?
They're over by the pool. Timmy leveled out a spot further up Newton Street towards Goodale with grindings. He was gonna move them up there, and it never got done. And I think we concluded that we were just gonna leave them where they were.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we were gonna do with the money is build some kind of roof between the two of them, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, we were also gonna use it because we didn't know whether we could move them with the front end loader, or whether we needed to hire someone in like Cranston to come in with a flatbed and hoist them up and move them, you know. We would have to pay for that, so I believe they're gonna stay where they are, so we might as well just turn that back to CPC. I can tell Leslie to do that.
we need to vote on that?
Yeah, I probably should. I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We had some other money that was hanging around too for the high school baseball fields, like $400. And that's already been taken care of, so this is the last one that we're holding. It's outstanding.
Okay.
Fertilizer, we've got $1773.54 in one account, and we've got $2,000 in another account, which with a total of $3773.54. And that's it. Deposits were made were $1,800 and $1,200. Total field account was $3,000. That was added to the $984.25.
So that fertilizer will leave there until
Well,
a shortage from the budget.
they're doing the clover tomorrow. I'm glad you came to the meeting because Jim called me and they need a faucet. This stuff is a chemical and they have to mix it. And he wants, I think, Joe and, I don't know whether, what's the other mechanic's name?
Joe.
Yeah, are gonna be up there tomorrow morning, but they're gonna be there around 6:30. And they can open up the storage room at the snack shack at Ayfield. There's a Silcock in there that they can hook onto, and it's central. So they're gonna have to fill their tank probably 4 or 5 times. They have to dilute it and they go out.
How big is it, the tank?
I think it's 400 gallons,
400?
yeah. 3 or 400, I don't know, he told me, but I forgot what it was.
We have something at Woodland,
They can do it down there and then.
and drive to Woodland.
Yeah. I suggested the DPW building, but he seemed to like the idea of the snack shack. It was more centrally located to most of the parks.
I hope they don't spill there by the
No,
concession stand.
it's an enclosed tank, so it won't go anywhere.
We're talking on the money in the accounts, we have now budgeted line item for this fiscal year
In
in the
Gary's
DPW
account,
budget,
yeah.
so the treatment should be paid from there, and I believe we're gonna end up possibly with a shortage based on added, space from the last quote, so that this won't expire.
No, this won't
So
go
we'll
anywhere.
make sure we
Yeah,
use the
yeah.
fertilizer money.
We
and
use the
this
fertilizer
to
money.
Cover anything, that's
We're
all.
gonna have the clover. They're not gonna do mixed-er, they're not gonna do the triangle, and they're not going to do the library, because it's all new planting there, and they don't wanna be putting down a pesticide on that. So they're gonna do the other 5 locations for the clover, so it's gonna be something less than what the quote is.
Okay.
We gotta figure it out, but it's gonna include that. We need to get the calcium, the lime for the application. We gotta order that. And then that'll be it until the fall when we put fertilizer down. And then
Alright.
start over again in the spring.
Sounds good. couple permits to approve. First is the Little Gym of West Boylston that wants to use Pride Park, 24th of July from 2 to 3, and the 29th of August from 2 to 3. It's pop-up in the park event. They did it there last year as well.
Yeah, I don't think we charged him last year, did we?
I don't believe so.
Was it just an hour?
So now for 2 different days.
Yeah, I would approve it with no fee. I'll make that motion.
Wait a second.
What's it for? You guys talked to.
July 24th.
Yeah, you're right.
And August 29th from 2 to 3 at Pride Park.
You wanna sit here?
I see you. Yeah, okay, all right. Well, you guys talked a little, I thought you were in a confessional. All
Can I
right.
get a second?
Yes, second.
Any other discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion, you guys talk up though.
See if we can hear that. Alright, next one is the full year request from youth soccer for 19 and 20, which would be fall and spring. Everything's basically the same. 7:11 to 7:1 to 8:15 at Woodland. Fall, all fields, 8:16 to 11:23, Monday through Friday, 5:30 to 8, Saturday, 9 to 6, Sunday, 12 to 6. Spring is Woodland from 3:16 to 6:26, 5:30 to 8, Monday through Friday, Saturday, 9 to 6. I don't think they do Sundays. And then, it's for youth soccer practices and home games. And then they'll send out their schematics, usually closer to the season or whenever they need them for those.
Did we already approve this?
No.
Okay, that's basically the same as it was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make the motion, we approve it.
You say they're gonna be, the schematics will be also, how many lines are we gonna do? The U2s and all that?
Well, last year, I get the seasons mixed up. There was one large field and then 2 U10s, I think,
Right,
and then a U12. So one of them goes on one half of the big field and the other two, I
And
think,
the
fit in the
other
other half of the field.
intersect, yep, okay.
This is gonna bring up some problems for you, Gary, because Timmy knew about this stuff and he took care of doing it, and you may have a,
Yeah, but I would,
Yeah, you're gonna have to get something going, so-
Eric worked pretty
yeah.
close with Timmy, so he
Yeah.
should know the
Yeah.
situation
Yeah.
and planning and scheduling.
Yeah.
My only, and I don't know if you can check that, and I'm sorry, it's the first meeting I've been to with yours, but there's no conflicts with others that may or may have not been permitted for those same dates and times?
no.
No, what'll happen is actually for some of this, in the spring, Little League will use part of Woodland and they, work together to stay out of each other's way and, they have a long time period here, but it's not necessarily the entire field. So Little League will use closer to the parking lot for T-ball and then soccer will go out to the other side of the field type of thing, so. Yeah, usually most of the stuff is pretty status quo and with a few changes here and there, so we haven't run into any kinds of issues, but obviously we need to make, part of the purpose of this is so that there aren't conflicts.
Okay.
Plus, you're gonna have days where you got rain, you probably don't even have to mark it, you know, that's a decision Timmy used to make, and Eric will have to make the same decision.
Did we vote?
So moved.
Motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve that.
You already did.
We didn't make a motion, did we vote?
Gary, second it?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This last one I have, we cannot approve. It's that gentleman that rented the field a couple times for us. He wants it from 5 to 8, Tuesdays and Thursdays from August 20th till October 29th.
Which field now?
This is the football field.
Yep.
Well, the all-purpose field,
Yep.
what do we call it now? I reached out to Todd Smith, and there'd be a conflict with more than half of these, so, I offered him if he maybe wanted it from 6 to 8, we could probably accommodate it most days.
When did he do it last year?
This guy hasn't done it before.
Okay.
This is the guy that used it a couple different days this year within the
Oh,
last
for
couple months.
tryouts and all
Yeah.
that? Oh, okay.
So we wanted to use it more, which I think is great, but I don't think we can accommodate
And
it.
those are small kids too, so there's not a lot of wear and tear on it, it won't follow it all up to the high school games.
Yeah, but a lot of what happens is there's games and stuff that start on these days at 3:30.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
How about,
So I've been in contact, so I'll hold on to this for now until we can figure something else out, but.
can't use the practice field, that's not big enough. How about Woodland?
Well, I don't know, I need to check with Todd because high school uses that too. That's a good segue, I talked to Todd, he was gonna try to get the permits taken care of for tonight, but he wanted to make sure it was thorough and had all the signatures, so I told him that we meet again in August before he'll need the fields anyway, so as long as they're in by August. But he was away too for part of it. So we'll have the high school permits then. So. Alright,
So we'll just let that one go. We can talk
yeah,
about it.
I'll just keep in touch with him. And then here are the two from today.
Can I just see that so I can get the, thank you.
Alright, DPW director.
That might be me. But let me introduce myself first. While you're busy writing, Gary.
All right, Lynn Townsend.
Hi, Gary.
I know-
I'll shake your hand.
I've been here.
Gary Flynn.
Thank you. And I had to get
Jim Pedani.
Oh, is it good?
Yeah.
I got the emails at me by email.
Yes, right. As much as possible.
Gotcha, gotcha. No, I talked to, I met with Steve a couple weeks ago, asked me to, gave me this punch list and asked me to sit down with you folks. Obviously, you know what's going on within that division right now, so we do have some work to catch up on. I'm sure you've seen that the parking lot has been, striped.
Yep.
Irrigation, we did have
That's
a
the,
problem.
I'm sorry, that's the second line item is done?
Yep.
The Crescent Street one?
Swing gate at the emergency
Yeah,
access
the
sign,
access sign,
that's still
that's
active.
still- Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sorry, I skipped that one.
Yeah.
The high school baseball field irrigation, I think the holdup on that was that the field was still permitted, so, that is pending. You also had another one, excuse me, an irrigation to get the softball field, you have some problems with that.
Those have been taken
We
care of,
talked about
that's
that.
been taken care of.
Yeah.
The
So-
softball field.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was the backflow preventer was blown, that's, we're gonna be getting a $1,500 bill for that.
So that one's done?
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
up top, I think they were, did I see them up top today at that field?
They were working on the lights, but they're not,
Okay, they were looking at.
they're not done yet. The lights were on when I came here.
The other week, you must have saw the hole in the plate that we had to dig, so, we talked about that this morning. And
Yeah.
I sent the two mechanics down to resheathe that, if you will, put a 2-inch, sleeve through the existing steel.
Yep.
Poly, so we should be all set with that, you won't have the problem with the breakage again. The fence post at the, it's okay, I'm skipping, the fence and netting maintenance, I walked the fields today, and I saw the fence posts that were installed with the netting, the 4-foot, there's plastic poles. I don't know if you have a stock of those, or if that's something that the DPW is responsible for.
You talking-
Also, I guess my question would be is why plastic was picked, and I'm assuming
It's,
that if you had steel posts in there.
that's not what we're talking about.
Which, well, it's part of it.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
line item was very all-encompassing of all of the fencing around fields and stuff that just, a lot of the metal clips around the top of the chain link fence have come off or broke in certain areas. And in addition, it's under new business, but something happened at the high school baseball field backstop, which is really bad, and the netting or the fencing about halfway up is pulled off, right? So this was kind of more of a go around and find any kinds of fencing that needs to be repaired and repair those.
And understood that, and that was.
So,
part of it.
but which one are you talking about specifically?
Small 4-foot fence with
The
a-
outfield,
soccer
A
rink
field.
by the Goodale parking lot today.
The outfield fence.
A lot of
the
it is
A-field.
bent over and broken.
Oh.
The netting is in good shape. You can't repair the posts that are broken, obviously, you
No.
replace. I'm just figuring that you bought the plastic, so in case that somebody ran into it, they wouldn't get hurt. But the plastic posts do have a protective sleeve over it. So my recommendation would put steel post pipe coating over it, so if somebody runs into it, obviously they're not gonna hurt with steel.
Are these gonna be removable?
Excuse me?
Are they gonna be removable?
Well, they never come out, right? They stay in all
Well,
with it.
No,
That's
they-
why we use what we use, because
Okay, well, they're actually.
we gotta fill you in on what's going on.
Understood, but we could.
Soccer uses those fields in the fall,
Yeah,
so we take that fence down, and that opens the whole field up for soccer.
okay, and you could put an oversized sleeve in there.
Yep,
Below the
I-
ground, the plate
yep,
that the new post
yep.
will fit into.
Excellent idea.
There's an expense to that, but it'll last a lot longer than the plastic post that you have.
Do we want steel posts in there?
I'd like to know what the cost is.
Oh, obviously,
Right,
yes,
before
I
we
wanted to
make a
talk to you
decision.
first, and I can certainly get a price on that, but I wanted to bring it up to you first.
But I think it would look, I mean, I'd be interested in something a little bit better. We've always kind of had issues with those fences.
I'm just wondering how is that gonna affect the kids when they go out, you know, for the long ball and smack into the fence and it doesn't move.
Well, I mean, the fencing will still be,
The fencing is
somewhat
netting, it's not
flexible.
even fencing, it's netting, which is obviously very flexible and strong. You have those, I mean, if you have one of those plastic pipes in the ground with a protective sleeve over it that the netting is hooked to, if somebody runs into that, they would probably get hurt almost as much as running into a steel post, because that's gonna stay
I mean,
stationary. They're gonna bounce into the
they-
netting.
typically, Steve, if we were to do that field the way we want it to, it would be a chain link fence.
Right.
So it would have the metal posts anyway.
Yeah.
The only difference is with the chain link fence, we'd put one of those yellow things around the whole
Right.
top of it to protect the stuff that's sticking up, but it would be a hard
We
surface.
can't do that because of.
We can't, but this, I don't think would be any different than that.
But those things won't be a breakaway then. If the kid runs into it, it's not gonna break away like the other ones.
And what do they use?
That's gonna be the only problem.
And off-season, obviously, you take them out of the.
Take them out,
cap,
put a cap
so you
on,
can
and
use them again, but they-
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
They
What,
would not be.
but it's,
what type of fence do you put on the poles? Similar to what's there now?
Using the netting, I think is a very good material,
Yeah.
and strong, so I think that we just wire tie, not wire tie, but clip that.
Yeah.
To the post. Still, don't forget, we'll have a protective sleeve over the pipe, it'll be a pipe, not a solid post.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if you want, I
it's-
can explore, get some prices and see, you know,
You
how many feet we need.
Did you count the poles?
I did not, no.
I wonder how many are there.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see.
Yeah, it'd be
Okay.
interesting to
And then,
find out.
and then what we do on B field is kind of run it in and then stop when it hits the A field one and then continue it again on the other side when it leaves the A field one.
I don't think they put that fence up this year.
No, but you know, it's always been asked, so.
But perhaps Steve, you and I could take a walk the whole field, I
Yeah.
did walk when I
Yeah.
could today, but there's
Yeah.
obviously a lot of things going on in town.
There's a lot of
As far
fence.
as the other one, I know, the Cyclone fence, or that product that you're using for the backstop and so on and so forth, they use wire ties before, well, that's not gonna hold. You gotta get the aluminum flexible clip, so you can bend that around like front wheel lock on it. And that's gotta be, then it's gotta be maintained regularly.
They have a new setup now, you go up to, into Worcester, up onto Ararat Street, where the old Salter School used to be. I know, you probably don't even know where it is, but they did a brand-new ball field up there, and they put up a fence, and they're using plastic ties for the fence now. And I don't know what it is, whether it's like the zip ties or, but
I'd like to see a
yeah,
sample of that.
it's a lot easier to do that than bend the,
It's easier, but it's they're easily breakable
Yeah,
as opposed
yeah,
to, especially
yeah.
with the different temperatures of the seasons, they
Yeah.
become very brittle as opposed to
Yeah. yeah,
the flexible aluminum.
but it's evidently something new in the industry, so you
Okay,
might wanna
I'll
look at it.
look at that.
We do a lot of business with Patriot Fence. Joe Ronzoni owns it. He's very rarely around, but if
Okay.
you want to give him a call, he could probably fill you in.
What's his name?
Joe Ronzoni.
Okay.
He's right up just before the coffee shop, not the Dunkin' Donuts, but the one before it. He's down in the hole there,
Oh, okay,
where the limousine service used to be.
all right, I will contact him and see what he does.
Patriot Fence is the company.
Yeah, Patriot is the company.
Okay, yeah, I will contact him. Okay, what were we, wood chips, I think, we have plenty of wood chips, Steve, you and I talked about, there were just some up at the National Grid substation, and there's also some up at the storage yard of Laurel. So we do have wood chips for poison ivy control.
So this came because there's somebody from the jail, caught us. Do you remember who that was? They,
I
have a
his card.
bunch of them up there, and they basically say if you want them for poison ivy, just, they can come get them.
Okay,
It's
all right.
the
Yeah, that's
ALB
the wizard.
site, they're grinding at the ALB site that's up there. Boylston, East Boylston.
have, that isn't on the agenda, but obviously we all know what's happened recently, is the vacancy for the lead person in the parks. I do have, and I think, when you mentioned it before, Jim, that Nancy was, I believe that's what you were talking about. I do have that same for Leon, the latest, I believe posting was January 15, 2006. I've read through this, yes, we have to change, some of the particulars here, dates, and obviously the pay rate, which has changed over the years. The address of the town building, but that's all minor. But the big thing that I've looked into on this is the qualifications. High school diploma or equivalent, understood, class B, obviously we need that, we need the air brake endorsement, hoisting engineer's license, yes to be endorsement. But the thing that, we don't
Friday.
have in the staff is a valid pesticide applicator's license, and I'm understanding, and I know Nancy understands this, so I certainly do, that this has to be posted internally for a 5-day period before it goes external.
Yeah.
To the best of my knowledge, there's nobody within the department or within the town that has this license, pesticides applicator's license, and that is called for, and I think that's a must. I think we have to.
Problem that we had was that the town was reluctant to do it because of the liability issues involved. We don't get a lot of call for, I mean, we spend probably, if you include the Clover application that they're gonna do, we probably spend $3,000 to $4,000 a year paying a licensed applicator to come in and do the work for us. So you have to weigh that against the liability issue, the insurance and all of that. You have to have the insurance to cover the guy that's doing the application.
Part of it was also the amount of money it would cost to send somebody out versus what we pay. I think if we set a job requirement of somebody coming in needing it, it's kind of a different ballpark now. Instead of the town paying to get somebody licensed.
I think any of the liabilities, if I could, Steve, and I understand what you're saying, but I think any of the liabilities or precautions that the person would have to take would be certainly explained going through the license process.
I'm talking about the liability of the town if somebody starts looking at 4-leaf clover or something and gets poisoned. And we put it down, they're gonna come after us versus the individual who put it down from an outside company.
So you don't
That's the
feel that
liability I'm talking about.
But if the town is in knowledge of their fields being sprayed with something that could happen. I would
I'm
say-
just telling you what, that's just the
I
reason,
know,
this is the
I
reasoning
know.
behind it, yeah.
But you still have the liability,
Yeah.
whether it's a contractor doing the work
Yeah.
or an employee doing the work, because the liability's still there.
And also, one thing I'd like to mention on that, if you read the first 2 lines or 3 lines, there is some reference in there to supervisory duties upon this person's job description. And to be very truthful about it, that's the reason that our last guy left.
I did see that.
Okay, so I would hope that we try and do something, and it's
You know, can we-
just too bad that we had to wait until.
Do something like what? What?
You got a guy he's the lead parks person, he's got 2 people working for him, full-time people, and it's up to him to tell them what to do. Even though we have a foreman down at the DPW building, it's up to him to tell these guys what to do and keep them busy. So he's a supervisor. He's not a supervisor, I would call him a group leader. And a group leader, in my opinion, deserves a bump in pay for taking on those duties.
Which I believe he has already received, I mean, the person that was in it received is getting paid more.
As far as I know, he's making the same rate as the rest of the guys at the DPW, that's what I was told.
I believe they get the same pay as a mechanic, which is a bump up from the regular guys, as you say, in the DPW, which is a
I
bump
don't
up
know,
from.
I don't know, I'm
Okay,
just bringing it up.
I don't,
Understood.
I don't have the contract with me, but just going back, this particular job, Parks lead person was created back in 1998. And at that time, it was given to another employee who came in, and he had the applicator's license. So it was, the town paid for his renewal license.
Yep.
And we paid,
Yep.
our insurance covered him. So there would be no, he didn't have to get liability insurance. Our insurance covered him.
Yeah.
So there was no issue with liability. I can easily get mine to cover the next person's who comes in.
But somebody, can I ask you a question? You had said about, you've got the applicator's license, all right, that guy there. But he has to work under a supervisory capacity of a guy. So I don't know, that
Well,
to me is gonna be
lead
two
person-
licenses.
Right, but lead person and supervisor.
No, he's wondering,
No, I'm,
with this particular license, could he work on his own, or did that license have to have him working under another person with a higher license for the applicator? This is
with
just
with
the
the
applicator.
supervisory
There was
license.
no other person.
I
working
think you
at
better
that
check
time.
on that. I'm pretty sure unless they've changed the law, you have to have a supervisory license, then the applicator. He works under his license
What
to
do you-
boot.
What do you
So-
have?
I would just question,
I had the supervisory
what do you think well, the going rate would be for that person that is a lead person, has all these other ones, and the applicator license? Is the current rates sufficient to get an adequate person?
That position should have had that back in 2006. It was a requirement of the job.
What's that,
It's right here, the qualifications, and a DFA pesticides applicator's license.
okay.
It was a requirement back in 2006.
But also, to answer your question a little more, if I could, you'd have to do a comp study, obviously, see what other towns pay that person to do that type of work. From what I've seen, there aren't a lot of towns that do that. They just don't have that license required. There's state agencies, obviously, that do it. You just have to do a comp study and see what the going rate for that position is. So the only thing I could do is check with the state agencies or go around and do that and see what their going rate for that is. I mean, we would be responsible, the town would be responsible to renew licenses, any additional training and so on and so
Sure.
forth, just as the DPW works.
So, I think it would be good to be able to put it in and have it. I just wanna make sure that we're gonna be able to fill it based on, what we're gonna offer. Does that person exist for that amount of money? In my comments to Steve's concern about the supervisory role, I guess if the bump in pay is there, that's whatever, but I think in addition, it needs to be well-defined. I don't know if I don't think it's a Parks Commission thing, I think it's a management thing,
Yeah, I agree.
right?
Because you've got, the director, myself, you've got a foreman there, and you've got the lead person that parks that reports to those.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of making sure that the hierarchy is understood below.
Right, right, they're not separate entities, they're all within the DPW, and we all have to understand that, and that's the
Right.
way it is.
See, that original job description that you have there, not the latest one, but the one that goes back into the 90s, I believe at that point in time, that individual reported to the Parks Commissioners.
I used
Am I
to.
right or am I wrong?
I used to.
Yeah. Gary was the Parks Superintendent prior to that one.
Prior to that one, what, prior to
Oh, 6
Prior
or
to-
7.
Prior to 97.
the parks?
When was the DPW formed? You think it was, think
Yeah,
it was
but Mike
after?
still had to go. Either I went to the meetings or Mike did, Toledo.
That's 1997, that's not all that long ago, in the grand scheme of things.
Well, we're not asking for any kind of change here, right?
No,
Okay.
no, I just want to make sure that whoever we hire, they get compensated for what they do. That's all I care about.
Understood, as everybody should, but they also should be.
You and I have already talked about
Yes,
that.
we have, but these all should also, and we have, but there's also steps here that should be filled in, such as a license.
So does this have to go to the personnel board?
No, it's a union position.
Okay.
Does that have to be negotiated in the contract?
No, it's
No.
already, it's a
Already.
requirement of the job.
So I guess I'm confused on the disconnect. If you have that requirement, why is there something else that's not, that it's not listed in? The way you were reading the job, or did I miss something? It's already there.
So we there.
Okay.
Has been there, yes.
Okay, so you're not looking to add anything, you're
No, no,
saying
no.
That's
the
what-
person that left the job didn't have it, but this is listed in the requirement.
And it
Exactly.
will be required.
Okay,
Yeah, and it has been there. If there was something that we wanted to add to it, that would have to go through the union negotiation process,
okay, I see, all right.
but it's already there. And it'll be posted immediately. I did want to know that I was meeting with you.
You have to post that in-house.
I have to post it in-house first for 5 days.
5 days, and then it goes out?
External.
When was his last day?
Well, he's on the books right now, so his last official day he's not at work this week, but is the end of this week, which is Saturday.
So we currently have Eric and Glenn?
Yep.
Is,
Well, we're using Joe and
Jeffrey?
Jeffrey to
Yeah, we
repair the
usually would
leak
have
at
to get the job done, but
on the
right now,
irrigation,
as
yeah,
far as-
yeah.
so I guess my question is we brought, in Len as a, full-time seasonal worker because of a shortfall, and with the vacancy now right in the middle of the season, is that something we should look at as well?
We certainly can.
Like a temp?
And obviously, everybody that's working seasonal, they have to be at the minimum of 18 years old to operate the small trucks and the equipment that we have.
Or is there enough,
I mean, in my eyes, we're at the end of July, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is, and pretty soon the people that are of the age to do that are gonna be going off to college.
okay,
So, and we'll fill the void the best we can within the department. I've
Okay.
asked before, and believe me, I think those guys did a great job of keeping up the fields and cutting it and doing the work that had to be done. But somebody has to pick up the beat, and we're just there to do that. And as all you have seen, it's a very busy season, especially now, as the road construction starts, and we try to get all our repairs done that happened over the course of the winter and continue to happen, and things that do have to be repaired. It's gonna fly by, and we have a lot of work to do. We'll just do the best we can to fill in all the voids.
okay.
Just one comment on your list, Gary, that fixed pitches mounds at Goodale A and B fields, that is not a one-time job, that's something that they have to keep an eye on, and when they see that they're not the way they're supposed to be, they need to fix them.
Yeah, I don't know what they have for a base on them, are those just?
Well, Gary had some
Plug in.
ideas that,
I think they're just spikes.
yeah, they're just spikes that go into the ground.
Just spikes.
You tell them what you used to do, Gary,
I
when you,
used to just make a form, put the spikes in and then fill it with concrete, maybe about 6, 8 inches deep, and dig them into the ground. That way they didn't move.
Yeah.
They don't
The same
curl.
thing with the home plate.
So, I will say that the temporary mounds or the movable mounds that were put in the softball field worked out quite well.
Right.
maybe,
So maybe, as much as I don't want them to be temporary, but that design, it comes basically with a metal bracket that's buried and has 2 square holes, and you just slide it in. I mean, it becomes removable, not that I want it removable, but at least that might actually add some support
Okay.
to what the other mounts were.
Instead of having that dipping over.
Yeah.
Which could aid to a nice sprained ankle, something's up there.
Yeah,
But I have thought about the concrete or the gunite, you can put gunite down there, or you can have, quite
Any-
simply, just a soft metal frame. Or
Just
the whole
anything,
thing.
just to pour it and that's it.
There's many different alternatives, so we can certainly look at that, but I did see that, and I did talk to Steve about that.
yeah, so I guess it is an ongoing thing, but I think there's things that can be done better to reduce the amount of ongoing work that has to be done on them.
redesign.
Can we just back it up a little bit? Now, can somebody from within apply for that job if they went out and got their license to spray? They could, okay.
They could, but it's still a requirement of the position to have the license.
But I mean, if you talk with somebody, who's there and say, if you're willing to go get your license, as long as he can fulfill it, just wondering if that, if you could put the brakes on it a bit and let him get qualified if he wants, is all
It's been
hypothetical.
done before, and obviously in many places, but you have to put a time frame on it.
Right,
And
right.
that person has to understand, if it's an internal person,
Exactly.
if he or she does not have that applicator's license within that time frame, then they have to go back. to
Right,
position
put the
where they're
date,
from, if it's
right.
vacant.
Does the town compensate them for getting that license? I mean, as far as the classes and all that go? In other words, that they pay their way if they're willing to take the classes?
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nancy, I believe as long as it's an internal employee, the town would. If it's an external employee, it's a requirement to take a
Coming in
position
brand new,
on their
right.
own to get that license. And then once they receive that license, whenever it was up for renewal or any additional tests or classes, then the town would pay for those.
Okay.
It's the same with, just another side of it, if a DPW worker is required to have a CDL, he comes to work with a CDL. Now, that he's got that CDL and he's a town employee, once that expires, and he's gotta go and take his class for his CEUs, and he's gotta go get the DOT card. Obviously, the cost of the license renewal, the town pays for that, that's in the union contract.
I'm just thinking if we get a qualified guy that comes in from the outside, and for some reason he can't afford to take the pesticide class, I wonder if it would be worth our while to pay his way just to
Well, what do you mean if you're saying if he's a qualified guy from outside?
He
Well, if
wouldn't, he
he's-
wouldn't be qualified if he doesn't
He
have
should
it.
Well,
already have
when I
it.
say qualified, I'm talking about qualified to be the park's lead person. The only thing he wouldn't be qualified for, and he might be qualified for it, but he doesn't have the license to do it. He may not have the money to go, or he or she may not have the money to go to get it. Would the town be willing to front the money or something
Or
like that?
an internal or an external?
External,
External, I would say it would be the responsibility of the person coming in.
just thinking we may lose some people that we might wanna hire just because of that, so. But, well,
But that would be like, that's, what the job description will contain that, so if this person, the one that you're talking about, he should already have it, am I correct?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
The applicator and,
Correct, but the only fluctuations in that would be at a point where all applicants, be it internal or external, were not qualified. Part of that, the job description that goes out for the external would have to say,
Yeah.
would, requirement of that pesticide
Yeah.
applicator's license must be obtained within, for the sake of argument, 6 months.
okay,
And if it's an external employee that comes in to have that and realizes that if he or she doesn't have that applicant, which they would have to know in the beginning, within 6 months,
right,
the job is no longer theirs.
I get you.
I will look into what it takes, the costs associated with it, so on and so forth, to get that license.
And also
Because we,
check
because we had
safety.
discussed this a long, I mean, many
Yeah.
times, you know, and it was always brought up, well, by the time you get the license, by the time you buy the right equipment to do the application, you know, the spray rigs and so on and so forth, and like Steve said, you know, the cost of hiring an outside firm to do it, they were pretty close to even.
Now, we don't really have the equipment to put some of this stuff down. We use the cemetery spreader, which is not the most accurate thing in the world. Not really important when you're putting down lime and fertilizer, but when you're putting down weed killer, if you overdo it, you can kill a lot of stuff.
Oh, understood, and that's,
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah,
part of
so I
the
mean,
education
you need to look at the equipment you're gonna need to keep this guy.
I agree 100%.
so he can
but
do
I
the
still,
job.
In my world, I believe that it's a
Yeah.
lot more economically feasible to get it done internally. You got that initial investment for the, really, it's simple, basic equipment to do the job.
Well, this, for instance, this application they're doing now for the clover, that's gonna be sprayed on, so you need a spray machine with a fairly good size,
The spray,
Boom.
right,
yeah,
right.
those don't go cheap, so.
And there's a lot, understood, but then there's a lot of things to look into, I'll
Yeah.
give you that. I'm not just here saying, no, we're not gonna do that, it's something we have to talk about.
Yeah.
It's in the job description, so it's a
Sure.
requirement.
Just one more comment on your list, well, actually, I have two, I have one I wanna add to it if I could.
It's your
I
list.
know that, yeah.
Very good.
The irrigation at the high school baseball field.
Yeah, it's commented on that, I just have to check to make sure that all permitting is over, they're done with that field.
Think-
For
Yeah.
any other reason other than high school.
I gotta double check, but I'm pretty sure it is.
And
Okay,
you-
and that's what we're waiting, and that's through, Mr. Shea, when I spoke
Let
to
me,
him about this list, and that's what
yeah.
we're waiting for.
Let me check and send you an email.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Just don't yell at me in the email, don't put it in caps.
I won't.
Don't
I don't
a
put
bunch of
caps.
Exclamation points.
The couple of items that aren't on that list, one, if you're going up Goodale Street past the tennis courts on the right-hand side, there's a tree down, old dead tree that's laying in the open
Where
there.
is he?
It's on Goodale Street, right above the tennis courts.
Okay.
It came down, I think, last winter, and to get it off the road, they put it in there, but it never got taken care of, and it looks kinda crummy. You can take care of that. And also at Woodland Park, as you're going up, just after you go by the parking lot, the last entrance is a big old stump in the ground there that is rotting away.
I did see that.
Yeah, that needs to be
Where's
removed
this?
in Woodland.
That's right, almost right across from Malton.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
okay, I
you
did
need to
see that.
pull all that out and put some loom in and see if you can seed it or whatever, maybe put a tree there, I don't know. We have trees, I don't know whether you know that, Gary,
You got-
behind the senior center. There's probably 15 or 20 trees left from 180 of them that we got. And I don't know how many of them are still alive, but you need them somewhere. you know.
Or they can be moved at this point.
We've got a lot in the park, if you look around, you and I can look when we go on our walk, that didn't make it. I mean, out of 180, we probably lost 10 trees, which
Oh,
isn't bad.
okay. What breed?
There are all kinds.
They're all
There's
different.
special maples, so the Asian longhorn beetle doesn't attack them, and there's a lot
Are
of,
they sugar, you know, sugar maples, or just?
it's a breed that they came up with to solve the problem with the Asian longhorn beetle. I don't know what they are.
Okay.
We got them in replacement technically of the trees that were lost because of beetles.
It was a freebie. We got 180 trees free, and they actually planted them for us, too.
Mm-hmm, okay.
So,
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I don't see it on the list for irrigation on A and B. Was that ever brought up, or was it it's taken off the list, but, well, we got Gary here, it'd be good.
What's the problem with it? I thought it was fixed.
Well, they don't work. The irrigation
Since
on A
when?
and B,
yeah, they work.
huh?
They work. You just have to manually.
Well, that's not, it's an automatic irrigation system that you manually have to turn on. That's just not good in the 21st century here.
It's manual, so it's not timer, it's not controlled by timer?
There's a clock in the concession stand, but there's also a conglomeration of wires that, have been,
I thought we paid a company to come in and fix that.
No, Timmy fixed it.
Yeah,
Tried to fix it.
yeah, but
I don't think he
you
ever
can't, I mean, to have an irrigation, automatic irrigation means automatic. You set it for 7 days.
Yeah, I'll put
You
back
put a
on the
rain
list.
gauge on there to stop it if it rains.
All of the irrigation systems should have that, and they shouldn't be watering at 5 o'clock at night either.
I'm not
It
talking
sets an
about
evaporator
when you
off
do it. I'm talking about you can't use that irrigation as an automatic irrigation.
there. Okay,
They just don't work.
Okay.
so I would like to then say that, I would like them all investigated, because they should all be automated, not just A and B field.
So some of them are, is this the only one that isn't?
No, you're gonna find a lot of them, Gary, that they have to be activated manually.
Okay,
And not the whole irrigation system. It might be just one zone.
okay.
The only way to find out which.
And were they properly winterized, every year, were they all blown out?
It's a problem because, every year we run into problems in the spring where we have leaks because things didn't get blown out properly. And it's very, very hard to blow out the irrigation system, particularly on A field, B field, football field, high school baseball field, and the practice field, because they're all on one pipe. It's a main that goes right up through there and they all go off it. And the only way you can clean them is to put the compressor down at the base where it comes across the road from the well and start pumping air through the system, and it all goes out through the heads. And you know as well as I do, it's not all gonna go out, some of it's gonna settle back in there.
So they cannot be
So
isolated?
in the spring, you do have some problems.
Okay, all
Just the
right, okay,
nature of the beast.
all right, okay, I'll look into that.
And then the last, I put it under DPW director, it's not on here, it should be the, timer at the courts, is that fixed?
They put the timer in today. They had a problem with the original timer, it was
Oh,
only a
okay,
single
right.
pole. And they came back with the double pole. Peter was up there today, he put it in. He set it up to come on for dusk tonight and go off at 10 o'clock. When I came to the meeting tonight, the lights were on. So they evidently came on at 4 o'clock. The system up there, the switch that turns those lights on, has to be energized, and then there's a shot of electricity that goes on to turn them on, and there's another shot that goes in to turn them off when they're supposed to go off. I think he got his wires crossed or something. I've gotta call him tomorrow and find out what's going
Okay,
on,
you'll
so
follow them?
I'm gonna check them tonight at 10 o'clock. If they're still on after 10 o'clock, I'm just gonna throw the main, well, actually, I won't throw the main. I'll open up the box and I'll shut all the circuit breakers off.
Well, before you do that, I think maybe perhaps you should just sit there and watch them, and if they do go off, of course, the night.
What's what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go up around 10:30, and if they're still on, I'm gonna shut them off.
No, stay there all night. So if they get off, so if they go off at 3 or 4 in the morning, at least write that down, then we'll correct it.
You gonna pay me?
Take it out of your bill.
Call and pay?
Alright.
Yep.
You're gonna be up at 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
I was thinking that.
I was gonna say, you'd be taking a nap in the
Alright,
truck.
we're all done, Gary?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so,
Burned
yeah.
his ears enough.
So let me ask you a question. What is your position? I mean, it was told it was temporary.
I don't look at, this is my position, and this is what I do for now. talked to Nancy, I am retired. I'm not eligible to work more than I do until they up the hours, and it's supposed to be on the House floor to decide that. But I am here, we have not posted the position, there's a lot of things I think that we agree, should be taken care of. I'm here to do that as best I can. I'm not gonna say that I'm leaving in December of 19, I don't know, so it's just not something I think about every day. It's just, we've got a job to do, and I'm gonna do the best I can to get it done.
My only concern was with certain things that might be somewhat long-term, that they get finished, like the replacement of the parks person, things like that, you know, you seem to have a handle on it, and, you know, just hope that it doesn't get something falling in the cracks, because all of a sudden we get a full-time person or whatever.
Honestly, I think
happens.
it's imperative that position is filled as soon as it can be, early as possible.
Okay.
So I probably didn't really answer your question, but I'm not, we haven't put it done.
No, I mean, so you said it's not
No, yeah,
posted, so,
I know.
so hopefully we'll fill this other position before we post it.
I understand, if the town's happy having me, I'll certainly do the best I can for the town. This is what I do, it's not, I'm just not doing this for a part-time. This is
Sure.
what I've done my whole life, this is what I do and I love doing it.
I just guess I see some insight that I don't wanna lose in transition, like as far as the management stuff within the DPW, as far as the separation of parks lead person and make sure things are managed right, because I don't know that it's always been that way.
Well, that's not always the right way, but I understand
Sure.
what you're saying. It could be the right ways, I'm sure some ways are the right way, but if, I'm sure my way turns out to be the wrong way, I would hope people talk to me about it and tell me, and we don't get things done if we don't have communication. Like I've always said, I'm a conductor of a band, so the band's gotta play until, that's what we look for.
All right. Good attitude.
If everything goes well, we should have that irrigation working tomorrow.
If it doesn't, I quit. But I wanna make sure you're staying up all night to watch the lights too.
I'm going up at 10, if it's still on, I'm shutting it off.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
I'm set, but I just wanted to let you know that we are engaging a volunteer grant writer. So if you see any grants that you think might be helpful for the parks, please shoot me an email and I will introduce you to our grant writer, and she'd be happy to help you. She is investigating, and she's come up with stuff, and she's engaging with different departments. So if there's something that you would like to apply for.
Anything she could find. If she-
Okay.
Really, I'm serious, you know,
Then
she
what
doesn't
I
have
will
to
do
start
is
on it, she can
I'll
just,
send out an intro email to Jim and to Linda, and the two of you can engage on, what you might want her to look for, and we'll start the
Well, I can
conversation.
talk to her about some of the projects we have pending too,
Yeah.
to see if there's anything
Perfect.
specific for those.
thing that's been on my mind is Pride Park.
She found something through Walmart that you can get, I believe she said, you can submit 25 grants and they're $5,000 each, and so she's out there, even if you see $5,000, something that goes towards,
Yeah.
That's due for an upgrade, I mean, it's,
Mhm.
that place takes a beating. School uses it, the town uses it, everybody uses it. People come in from out of town using it.
Sure. Well, I will, I'll put you two in contact,
Okay.
and I write letters of support.
All right.
Thank
Oh,
you
we
very
also
much.
Thank you.
look at the new style fencing you're talking about, our clips, that's stuff that get replaced for safety in the ball fields.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of money out there available, and unfortunately, not too many people know what it is or what it is.
If you have a safety issue, I apply for a flex grant every year from Maya.
Yep.
And, if you need a couple $1,000 for a safety issue, $2,000 or $3,000, I could probably help you with that.
We got one once before, didn't we? We get the
I
alarm
got
system?
you-
That was
I
the one
you
that you
the
got
grant
for 5.
The alarms?
Oh, you
Alarm
had break-ins
system.
at the snack shack.
Yeah, I think it would be alarmed all the
No,
buildings.
we also got to alarm all the concession stands
Yeah,
through
that's- yeah.
Maya.
So, but anyway,
Okay.
happy to
And
apply
also,
for another one.
Now that Nancy has said that, I mean, you're talking about a poorly designed or malfunctioning timered, irrigation system. I mean, that's something that comes out of water use. I mean, we got a mandatory ban every year, and that's something that, can be
It's-
taken a look at.
It's not the timers, it's the wiring that goes from the timers out to the valves, the zone valves.
Okay, but Gary said one's not working.
They need to be fixed.
You're jacking zone valves, aren't you, Gary? They're not wired to the timer.
Right, they're not,
What happened was when they did the courts, they dug up all our wires and never fixed them. Timmy was supposed to gone back and fix them, and I have a feeling that when he hooked them back up, he didn't hook them up in the right order, so when you turn zone 1 on, zone 3 comes on.
Oh, I see, okay, gotcha.
So it's
Gotcha.
just,
so it's basically just ringing them out is what it would be to each valve.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it was nice meeting you all.
Thank you, Nance, as always, thank you.
It's a pleasure, thank you.
I'll see you around.
Oh, yeah, you will. I know.
Which says hello.
I'll try to
I
keep,
ran into him at
I'll
Home
try to keep them
Depot.
away from you, how's that?
Oh, thank you. Good night.
Nice,
Thanks, Garth.
thank you.
All right, for new business, we need to appoint an open space representative, formerly Gary, hopefully
Were you quitting on us?
continuing Gary. No, it's just time to re-up him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shit, yeah, I gotta,
So if you wanna make the motion,
You wanna keep doing it?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
you can second himself, right?
You can second it.
I can't second it.
Yeah, you can.
No,
He's on it.
I'm the chair.
Oh, you're on it?
No, I'm the chair can't
Uh,
make motions, but no, he can second himself.
I don't know, somebody told me you could. You can't make motions, but you can second them.
No, that's all right, he can still do it.
All right, yeah, it's not, just,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
All right, not available, no.
All right, I brought the backstop up on the DVW.
You're talking about that pipe way up at the top on the end? It's
It's-
out of the
no.
bracket?
No, the fence is coming off in the middle.
Oh, really?
I got a picture from Jeff. Someone looked like they tried climbing it or something and broke off.
Oh, shit.
Well, Gary said he was gonna get a hold of me and we'd take a walk, so I'll take them all around.
Yeah. You can see it from the street, you drive by and look up.
There's a pipe up the top on, as you're facing the backstop from the field on the right-hand side that's pulled out of the fixture that holds it to the pipe going down the side. It's been
Oh.
like that for 3 years. I'm afraid the pipe's gonna fall out and hit somebody in the head, but
We
it
should probably
hasn't
fix that
moved
too
it.
at the same time.
Yeah, well, you need the bucket truck to get up there,
So,
so.
okay. No dog policy change. I talked to Nancy, and we can make a change. We have to have a, public hearing.
That ought to be interesting.
It might be. So, I told her I don't wanna do anything until I brought it up here to discuss what direction the Parks Commission would like to go with this policy.
Well, I'll tell you, we had the open space meeting 2 weeks ago, and the girl that was in charge, it was put in her lap, she volunteered. And she's been,
The dog park?
it's trying to find a piece of land, yeah, for the dog park, but it's difficult, so I don't know, this dog policy, was there one, was the main thing?
Well, here's the way I look at it. We have the town bylaw that says that they need to be leashed and their waste needs to be picked up. So, when you go to the baseball field that's fenced in and dogs are unleashed,
Oh,
we need
absolutely.
enforcement there.
Did you find out who's supposed to enforce it?
Technically, it's the dog officer.
Is he around?
No, because he has a job. So, it should then come down to the police department. So it's a matter of, we can really push it either way we wanna push it right now. My question is, do we want to work the enforcement side of things? Or do you wanna ban dogs in parks?
I think we should work the enforcement side first. And then if that doesn't work to our satisfaction, then you got no choice, you gotta go to the no dogs in the parks
Should we maybe add some additional
signage.
signs specifically around dogs that they must be leashed at all times and waste must be picked up and cite, maybe if we can, depending on the site, cite the bylaw or something and put police take notice.
Is there a fine involved in this?
Yes, from what I understand, there's a fine. I think Jeff looked it up at one of our last meetings.
Is that a state thing, or is this something the town,
No, it's a town.
yeah? somebody
town
told
has
me
a
the
leash
fine was
law.
$25.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
So, but we can verify that. You know, $25 doesn't seem too bad, but you keep hitting them with a $25 fine every time that the dog's off the leash. Maybe they'll stop taking the dog off the leash, or at least stop coming to the park. You know, because I'm not against having a dog in the park. You know, people go to watch baseball games, softball games. They want to bring a dog with them, right? You just leash them. What I don't like is turning the high school baseball field into a dog park. I don't like people going up there when school's in session and there's a gym class out there and there's people with dogs off leash and not, you know, following the rules.
Well, I think the other thing you need to do in that particular instance is talk to this, well, you're on the school committee,
Yeah.
but they should talk to the teachers, and the next time something like that happens, I mean, they don't have to confront the person that's doing it, but they can drop a dime to the police department and have an officer come up and say, hey, look, we asked her to leave, she doesn't wanna leave, do what you gotta do.
Yeah. So, do we wanna entertain the signs? I think the signs is probably, if we wanna work on enforcement, I think having clearly posted signs of the regulation.
If you wanna do it like, the cemetery has signs, but they're not permanent signs, they're just stuff that Kevin puts up down there on wire.
Drive in and.
You know, they're like the
Oh, no,
campaigning
yeah.
signs.
No, I think we should do permanent signs and mount them near the entrances.
Like you said, you know, I'm all for dogs, but I think what we're gonna have to do is just run the gamut of what we're talking about now. Start with signs, if they don't work, then padlock the gates and, you know, what you had before. Some of you people ruined it for others, because you didn't
Yeah.
abide by the rules. So, that's my feeling.
Maybe we should also try and do something with the town sign in the center of town, like a little notice on there that effective such and such a date, you know, just to clue,
2004.
just to clue, well, you know what I'm saying, just to clue people in. A lot of people
Yeah.
think that, you know,
Right.
and maybe some other places, you know, with some of the communication, Facebook and stuff like that, you know.
Okay.
Town website. We still got the recreational thing up on the town channel, access channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's still there.
Well, you
I
know,
laugh
what-
every time
what-
I see it.
You know, we might, it seems kinda, well anyways, you get the list in the town hall of
Dog
the
owners.
people who own dogs. If we send out a flyer to them, or,
Who says they're from town?
Wonder how many
Yeah,
people are
I
around.
wouldn't do the flyer thing. I think most people would throw them away, and you know, based on the reaction that one of the gym teachers got from the person that was there,
Probably-
fly-
They
the-
probably said they deserved it.
the flyer will be more than useless.
Well, the other thing we can do, you know, Dennis Minnick
Yeah,
offered to
again,
give
we're
us
trying to-
badges.
Yeah, we should definitely take him up on that.
And then it would be up to us if we see somebody there with a dog running free without a leash, and we're gonna have to stop and say, hey, look, you know, the rules are, the dog's gotta be on a leash, and you've gotta have bags to pick up the poop. And if they don't do it,
Yeah.
well, I just meant that by exhausting all avenues.
I mean, I
Get
don't
this
mind. I mean, I
done.
don't think it's too much money to do it, but
I wonder how many license
Send it out in a
plates are around
bill,
town.
have the light department, or we'll send it out in the water department bill or whatever. I mean, it can be done.
all right.
It's just like I said,
Maybe the
I'm
light
all for
department would
dogs,
be better
but,
because that comes out monthly.
but it's not fair for other people that, you know, because somebody was lazy.
How many signs would we need? That'd be a
No,
ton of them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ish, 8 roughly in the Goodale area, and maybe 2 more at Woodland.
but they don't have to be expensive ones. I mean, Kevin's a hardware bought.
Well, yeah, but those, I think we're talking about metal signs, aren't we?
Yeah,
On
we
the
would do
fence?
the aluminum signs, yeah.
Yeah, but Kevin's you get the 4 holes, you bolt it, I mean, you put it right to
The
the,
ones I'm talking about,
Kevin-
Gary, the ones he sticks into the ground,
oh, well, yeah,
they
you
got
can
the
do
wire
that too.
frame on them.
Somebody's gonna pull them out.
No, I don't wanna do
Yeah,
that. I wanna
attach it to
mount
the-
them right near our other policy signs.
Do we want one on every entrance? I mean, I can, I can go to Connor, sign, and tell him what we want, and, I mean, is it gonna
I'd say
be
the
just
the
dedicated
primary
to dogs?
entrance, yeah, this would be
Like,
just for dogs.
Dogs must be on the leash, and you
Must be
need-
leashed and waste must be picked up.
and deposited there, or taken off the premises.
Removed with them, I would say. We don't have a place to put it. I mean, if there was a trash
Well,
can, I don't care if they
This
threw it
trash,
in there.
well, that's one of the problems they always had, because on the rail trail, people do pick it up, but they dump it in the trash can out there, and that thing is loaded with dog poop.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
Or they put it in the porta potty.
Yeah,
That's
right,
even worse.
yeah, right.
Well, I would just say removed.
I can find out what it would cost per sign, and then, I mean, it doesn't have to be a big sign, it could be,
What you put on there, Viola's will be,
Yeah,
maybe we can cite the law too,
that's what I was thinking, yeah, you could cite the law, that can be done in smaller letters,
and maybe
Right.
put the fine in there.
yeah,
so they can't say, well, I didn't know.
right.
Do you
It's
have
there.
all of that? Do you have you
I'll find it, I'll get it,
wanna send it me in an email?
yeah,
And once I get it, I'll take it all up and give it to them and let them work something out for us. Then I'll get a price per sign, and then we can figure out where we wanna put them, if we wanna put them, go from there,
yeah, yeah,
all right?
that sounds good. As for old business, I don't really have any updates, I need to get back in touch with Pat to find out when we're having a meeting. He was working on getting some dates to schedule it, but that was almost 2 months ago now.
We need to
He
get
was
going on
waiting for
that.
as-bills.
You know, we're already too late for the fall town meeting. Because if we're
Because of
gonna,
the timing for
because of the
CPC.
timing for the CPC, I mean,
Okay. It is what it is,
and the other thing, I mentioned to Nancy, and I'll mention it to you guys too, Mixter is still far from satisfactory, in my opinion.
okay, they haven't released anything though, have they?
No, she said they're gonna have another meeting, I told her, I went up there, last week, I think I went up, and I walked the field, it's unbelievable, I mean, they drove trucks over the thing, there's ruts up there that deep. Glenn was telling me when he mows it, the mower's going like this over the ruts. All they did was they had a rock hound up there on the back of a tractor, and they just did the area that they dug up in the center. They didn't bother with any of the other stuff. They did take the big rocks out, those are all gone.
Yeah,
And they haven't fixed the drainage ditch out by the road. That's still mounded up, so the water can't get to that catch basin. So she said they haven't paid him a cent, and they're not gonna until everything gets done.
do you know how much money they owe?
I have no idea. I would withhold a little of their other money.
I don't think you can legally do that, but
No, you can threaten to do
I'm
it.
just curious if
It's not a lot of money.
it's not a lot of money, they don't care.
Yeah, they may walk away from it. Which,
They don't take pride in their work,
just
leaving it
make
like
sure that
that.
we get the money.
Gotta go back to the bond. Any other, I don't have anything else here.
As I said, the irrigation is down totally from the well. We blew a pipe in the manhole across the street from the wells.
What is it, what are we under here?
We're,
This,
I'm just adding things to it.
So, I didn't catch that at all.
so hold on,
Or you
that
wanna-
wasn't added when
The old
Gary
ones.
was here, right?
He knows about it, because I
Okay.
called him. With Timmy and I worked on it Thursday and Friday of last week,
Alright, so I need to
Wednesday
add
and
this
Friday
thing
of
to
last week,
his.
and Joe and Jeffrey are up there today. They're coming back tomorrow, and I'm hoping that we can get the thing fired up and
But
running.
this is only the irrigation system affected by the wells, this isn't like
It's the whole
Which
park,
is all the Creole.
except in the softball field
in Woodland,
and Woodland, yeah.
alright.
It's drying out.
Okay. Nothing else?
No,
Gary,
that's
is there
it.
any open space update?
No, not really, we didn't, we've got another meeting in the end of the month, just to, put the finishing touches on, what, we came up with so far.
That, the, open space and rec plan? Yeah, it's still not done?
Not really, because we're still waiting on, how do we end that, because we haven't really found out what we can do with these fields, and that's, we're waiting, you know, for the, I was gonna ask you,
What fields?
well, I was gonna ask you how we made out with getting a meeting done with the Parks Facilities Committee.
So, earlier.
That
it's-
all revolves
Hasn't been done
around
yet.
the open space.
But it shouldn't have anything to do with it. We put all of the,
Are you talking
Plans
about
in
the
there.
Goodale Park study, or?
Yes, basically, yeah.
He's talking about the original study.
but that's in there. That's in the plan. I don't know why that's holding anything up.
No, but we're talking about, nobody knows what, is the Parks facility still intact? I thought we were gonna have a meeting.
Yeah,
We started
I'm
off
waiting,
talking with
I'm waiting
Anita.
for him to call one. He's been,
And, well, that's all I'm saying is, you
Yeah.
know, that's what we're waiting on. I've been, instead of telling them what we can do, we can't tell them until we actually meet
but
with
this
them.
plan isn't really anything written in stone. We put in all of the information that we had at the time, and I didn't realize that the plan is being held up on this.
Shouldn't be.
Well, again, we can't come to a bottom line if you don't know if we're gonna work on, you know, sending it to the town and either having them shut it down or having it accepted.
You're talking about the Goodale Park study?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Phase 1, 2, 3, and 4.
correct.
But we put all that stuff in the plan.
I'm telling you, Gary, that's never gonna be decided.
And I agree, but that's what
never
I've been
gonna
waiting
be
for to
decided.
see
But
if
we
if
put
we're
it,
ever
but,
gonna meet.
but hold on, there's a misconception. This plan is supposed to just have it in there so that, you know, then it becomes available to apply for grants and things like that. It doesn't, it's not a document that says these things have to get done.
Well, yeah, but it's there from the original conception, I
Right,
agree.
but I gave Vinnie all that information, and he had put it in.
Yeah, but again, we don't know what the bottom line is with the Parks Facilities Committee, the
It
Parks
shouldn't-
Department, we voted for it at one time.
Right, but
To-
what I'm
to
saying
go
is
ahead.
none of that stuff should matter for this plan.
See, this plan is supposed to be like a long-range plan.
And that's
And
right,
it-
so
And
how
it
do
really
you
doesn't
do?
have any specifics in it, it's just a kind
And
of
it
a
doesn't mean
general
it
plan.
has to get done.
Right.
It's a,
Just ideas.
right, of
Right,
what we
well,
want done, so that, and then, so,
Maybe you should give Vinnie a call.
yeah, I'll give Vinnie a call, cause I didn't, if I knew that, I would've taken some more action. The last conversation I had, they were waiting on other things and selectmen to review
Is it
something.
complete other than that?
Other than that, yeah, we're
Yeah,
fine.
okay, so maybe-
Alright, I'll get in touch with Vinnie. And just make
I
sure.
mean, I can check with Vinnie again, but that's the only, I should have
Well,
brought it with me.
let Jim call, and he can tell him, you know, what he's got, and then they can settle it. Because I don't think there's any way you're gonna get a decision on that, Gary.
Oh, no,
You'll be waiting
and I,
until the cows come home.
but you know, it's like this
Yeah.
board here, I'd much rather have them shoot down and so we can start anew with what we have. We'll go out and get it ourselves, to get the track fixed and the lights or whatever. But nobody knows what's gonna happen.
Just a couple of things I'm gonna add in here. We've got some pretty good-sized bills coming.
Okay.
We had to replace the backflow preventer at the softball field. The preventer itself was like $1,500, plus the installation. So we got that coming. We got this well repair, which shouldn't be too bad, hopefully, because we're doing it in-house. And then we've got the timer on the court, basketball and tennis courts, and that, hopefully that's not gonna be too bad either. They told me somewhere between $300 and $600, so, versus $2,500 to replace what was there.
Okay.
Problem is, it's not working, so I don't know where we're gonna end up on that, so.
The back, the
So what do you
back
got for like
flows,
a total,
does
do you
it
have a total, you
2,500?
think? What do you have for a total?
For everything?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't got we haven't got the bill from, yeah. My mind is going.
The electrician?
I'm losing
You're
it.
talking about the electrician or the wells?
No, well,
But it could be 50, so worst
who's
case.
the plumber from Oakdale? Egan, Dave Egan did it.
Oh,
So we got a bill coming from him for the backflow preventer, and then Ted Roach from the electric company down here, he's gonna send me a bill for the timer, but we're not gonna pay that until they get it set, so it works.
Yeah.
And
So this timer isn't based on time of day?
the timer that they put in is an electronic timer, and you can program it so that it can come on anytime you wanna program it to,
Okay,
and they'll go off. And you also can program the days, so it's basically the same thing that we had before, but it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that the other one had. The other one had a battery backup, and the thing was unbelievable, and
okay.
their solution to it was $2,500 to put a new one in. And then they figured out that it wasn't the whole time, it was just a motor, so they tried to get a motor, and they ended up, they told them it was gonna be like $900 for a motor to put in there. So then they came up with this electronic thing to the tune of $300 to $600, and if it works, that'd be great.
But it is a matter of programming it at this point in time.
It's a funny system. There's two switches in there that turn all 6 stanchions on.
Okay,
We're only using 4 of them, but it does turn them all on. The only reason they don't all come on is because the circuit breakers are off for the 2 in the center.
okay,
They have to be powered. And then there's another charge that goes in to switch them on. And then at 10 o'clock, there's another charge that goes in to switch them off. So the first timer they had was just a single pole. Wasn't enough to do
so
what they had to do.
my question though is not so much the mechanics of how, but you program a time to come on and a time to go off.
Yeah, well, what,
So they don't have the time programmed right, it appears right now.
well, the original system had a light-sensitive lens on it.
Oh,
So what Timmy was doing is he's setting the timer, it's like your pool timer. He set it at 4 o'clock, it charged the switch, but didn't turn them on. They had the eye to the charge that turned them on, and then there was another tripper on there that shut them off at 10 o'clock. That's the way that worked.
okay.
So I got a feeling that he may have to eliminate the electric eye and just do it all by time, you know, so we'd probably turn them on at like 7:30. The problem with that is as you get closer to the fall, you gotta keep going up and changing.
Well, we've
that.
changed them, right, but so right now it should be 8 o'clock, 8 to 10.
Yeah, but if you get close to the September out that way, August, September, you're gonna be shutting them off, turning them on at 7:30.
And then, but we also changed the days at that point, so I get it, so we're gonna keep on that.
So I'm gonna call him tomorrow and hopefully we can get it straightened out. The important thing is, I'm gonna go up and make sure they go off at 10 o'clock.
It would be nice if we could just create a schedule and give it to the DPW director and say, can you just make sure the lights operate at these times?
Oh, well, that's what they do. Timmy used to set them. He used to-
Yeah, but we used to always discuss it here and say, okay, time to do this, time to do that. Now, let's just
Yeah,
create a
Just give
schedule.
them a list. I thought about that. There's a lot of things that we should have on a list for like closing the parks in the fall to make sure that they get done, like blowing out pipes, you know.
Picking up leaves.
We blew a hot water heater in the snack shack at Ayfield because nobody blew the thing out the way it should be blown out.
Yep.
So it's, you know, we spend a lot of money on mistakes that are made, and if we had a list that you could give to just anybody, and, you know, as long as it was clear enough, you'd just take the list and go around and check it off as you did it, and when you're done, you're done.
Right. All right,
Maybe Timmy should do that before he leaves.
He's gone.
Huh?
He's gone.
Oh, I thought he was the last day was
He's
Friday.
Yeah, he's
usually
on
vacation time.
Oh, well.
all right, do we have any member requests?
No,
Well, yeah, can we back up to what we were talking about as far as the Parks Facilities Committee? Are we gonna have a meet again with
Yes,
them?
we're going to. I don't know when, I'm gonna
But,
keep pushing that. The meeting that we're gonna have, though, is gonna be focused on Mixter and Woodland.
okay, I don't care, I'm just saying, we are gonna meet again with them?
Yeah, they need to run this project.
Okay, but I mean, you and Nancy, you know, originally was it
Yeah.
Anita? What is it?
Most recently Nancy,
What is it, our buddy's just slowing it down?
I think so. I don't know. One thing we're waiting on is as-built from Mixter, I don't think they're available yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, but yes, it's still in the works, okay, that's,
All right. I think, so we have August 12th, September 9th is the Monday after Labor Day. So that's probably what we should do for the next meeting.
You, Lynn?
Yeah.
Gary?
September 9th?
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
Make the motion.
Gary,
So
can I have a
moved.
second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I like
Come up.
the thing that I,
Why don't we just send that to me?
thing for Kelly.
Wow,
do it.
Gary, hold it till it turns red. No, this thing, yeah, right there, yeah.
I
Push
wrote
it
the
down.
note on the report,
Now let it up.
or did you clip everything together?
Yeah, he put all that together, yeah.